Being vulnerable has never been an option for people who stutter, because as soon as we open our mouths, you're sharing the deepest shameful thing about you without choosing it.
The idea of hiding it so that I wouldn't be judged, so that I wouldn't be teased or bullied, the burden was a lot. It became a lot for me emotionally.
Feeling like I was part of the community of school, I didn't always feel that way. And for me, it was better to be weird than it was to stutter.
These are the myths. People who stutter are not smart. Stuttering is a bad habit that you can break if you want to. Children who stutter are imitating a parent or relative that they know. Those are the myths.
We want to be treated as a whole person rather than just our stutter.
I am a better person now because of my stutter.
There's no better way to educate the world than to have these conversations.
Stuttering is okay. Your voice is valued, and you deserve to be heard.
When I talk in accents, I don't really stutter. There would be some times when I was studying abroad where I pretended I was from England and I spoke with a British accent because I wouldn't stutter. I work in policy advocacy. Most of my job is actually facilitating and organizing around coalitions. When people hear me stutter, I don't shy away from it as much as I did before I was out about it. Growing up with a stutter, I felt very alone in my experience. It was a very lonely childhood in that way. I was very outgoing, like inside myself. I always wanted to contribute in class and speak up and share my voice, but there was always that thought in my head of you want to say something, but you stutter. There was always that but. The way I kind of battled with my stutter is I would just pretend it didn't exist. I think I was so desperate to have friends growing up, as anyone would as a child. Going to college, I went to UC Santa Barbara. It was just a change I really needed to really expand my wings in ways I wasn't given the opportunity.
There was one time that I stuttered on the phone. I was working at a school and I called someone's grandparent that I was working with, a student, and I stuttered on the phone and I was trying really hard to hide it, and he was making fun of me and how I was talking. I hung up the phone and I was like, I think I need support for this part of my life. The idea of hiding it so that I wouldn't be judged, so that I wouldn't be teased or bullied was the goal. And I just wanted to kind of slip into the crowd and be like everybody else. As I got older and in my mid-20s, I decided that I needed to change my relationship to it and find more acceptance. And so I've been on that journey ever since. I started stuttering at the age of about 4. As a young person, I felt that stuttering was going to get in the way of what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was about 14. So I started making films when I was in high school, shorts and music videos, little documentaries. And the type of filmmaking that I do currently is narrative. And currently I'm making a documentary for my friend Nina G, the stand-up comedian. I'm doing a concert film / documentary of her show, Stutter Interrupted.
I'm really happy to be here in Pleasanton with all of you. Give it up for yourselves.
Yes, Pleasanton. What I always say is you should never pity me for having dyslexia or for stuttering or for having a disability, but you can pity me for going to Catholic school with those things in the 1980s. That wasn't so fun. What I do when I do stand-up is I introduce it, I talk about it. What I tell people is, I stutter and you're just gonna have to wait for all my brilliant ideas. And I find the audience, it takes them a while. At first, sometimes they think I'm faking it. And I have some jokes about that. People think that I'm fake stuttering, like it's for the comedic effect. Because what helps comedy timing more than a stutter? I wanted to be a stand-up comic ever since I was 11 years old. When I was around 17, the dream died because I was like, I'm not fluent. You gotta be fluent to do this. I started to stutter when I was 8 years old. And that was about the same time that I was first identified as having a learning disability. So kind of both of those identities are kind of intertwined. And the combination of the dyslexia and the stutter had a really big impact on me. Feeling like I was part of the community of school, I didn't always feel that way. So socially, it was hard during middle school and high school. And what I found was if I acted weird, I stuttered less. And for me, it was better to be weird than it was to stutter. It wasn't until high school, when I went to a public high school, that I had an IEP, which is an individualized education plan, and my dyslexia was a big part of that, but the stutter was also part of that. Part of what brought me into stand-up comedy was I went to a conference for people who stutter, and finding that community really reflected back my own biases about my stutter, my own internalized stigmas, my own internalized ableism. Once I kind of got on that path, I was like, okay, what's the other thing I've always wanted to do? And it was stand-up comedy. Like, that was the thing I've always loved. So I tried it out, and I've been doing it now for 13 years.
I know what I want to say, but it's almost like my voice isn't caught up with my brain, so there's kind of this disconnect.
In reality, there's a difference in the brain. And when we talk, we stutter, but if we sing or if we use a funny voice, then we don't. My favorite example of that is Marilyn Monroe, who stuttered, and I don't know why she would give herself a double M name. That was kind of hard to say there. But that's why she talked like this. Because if you talk like this, you might be able to bypass the part of your brain that stutters.
You never know when your stuttering might come out. Mine is very, kind of has no rhyme or reason. Like, sometimes I'll be completely fluent and people will be like, wait, you really stutter? And I'm like, yes, I do. And then I'll stutter a lot sometimes. It really varies.
When I started a really stressful job a few years back, my stutter came back in a way where I hadn't experienced since high school. So I kind of went from passing as fluent for all these years to now I have to deal with this again. Stuttering is just this deep, and I hear this from everyone, like it's this deep thing that we just hide, like it's so shameful because we can't really help it. I just never quite got to the root of my insecurities until I realized, wow, like I put so much energy around hiding my stutter my whole life, and a lot of people feel that way.
My name's Robert Rivas, and I'm proud to represent my home, which is the 29th Assembly District. Excited to serve as Speaker, a designate for the California State Assembly. Like many others across California and across the United States. You know, I have a stutter, and I have had a stutter my entire life. You noticed it when I had to pause when I said speaker designate, because certain words I can't say. Growing up in poverty and with a stutter, it was not easy. I can tell you it was not easy. I still have my stutter, but certainly at the end of the day, that is who I am. And I am a better person now because of my stutter.
Thank you so much to Speaker Designee Assemblymember Robert Rivas for authoring this Stuttering Awareness Week resolution.
So many people felt so seen in that moment, and we had a room filled with people talking about their stuttering stories.
For most of my life, stuttering has been, frankly, a source of shame and embarrassment a lot of the time.
I'm a covert stutterer, and what that means is that I spent my entire life hiding it well. I know what to avoid.
I felt alone, and now we feel seen and together and heard.
Stuttering has changed my life in many ways. Stuttering makes it super hard to talk and read in front of others, but stuttering makes me unique and not just an ordinary person. This is a trolley car from San Francisco. Hi, I'm Sam Wood, and I'm 11 years old. My favorite hobbies are soccer, being with my family, video games. When I grow up, I want to be a professional soccer player. It's super fun to play as a team. Stuttering is a speech pattern involving disfluencies in a person's speech. When I talk, I need a little bit more time to get my words out. School's fun because there's nice people and people who don't be mean about what you have. Some people don't realize when they meet someone that what it is. It's not just something that you learn or you do on purpose. I made this with my speech teacher. It's a stuttering sheet. So on this side I have stuttering myths and stuttering facts, and on this side I have when I stutter, give me time to try to say the word, wait for my signal before you help. When I give my signal, tell me the word that I'm stuck on. If I get stuck again, wait for my signal and give me 1 to 2 words. I think that it is important to educate and make people aware of stuttering. You can make someone's day a whole lot better by letting them know that you care and think that they aren't an outcast just because they stutter and talk differently from everyone else.
I was miserable at my job during COVID. My fiance at the time, now husband, he's like, you should do a podcast about stuttering. How cool would that be? And as soon as I heard that idea, I'm like, that's actually a really good idea. But how am I gonna go from hiding this to suddenly screaming on the rooftops that I have a stutter? So the first time I ever opened up about it to a group of people that I kind of knew, but not really, it was the most goosebumpy experience. I finally felt understood for the first time in my whole life. I kind of became addicted to that feeling, and so I realized I'm on to something. And so the podcast, yes, it's for the stuttering community, but it was also for myself. I think my biggest goal is to see more stuttering on TV and film that is more representative of the stuttering experience. And with social media, it's really I'm seeing a lot more TikTok content around stuttering.
Could I please get a grande oat milk cappuccino? Ordering your own coffee is huge for someone who stammers. It's ordering exactly what you want. It's not avoiding or ordering something that's a little bit easier to say. I started stammering at the age of 5, and I just don't think anyone had an idea of how much I was actually struggling. So I just stayed quiet and never ever answered questions or asked for help. It's not because I'm shy, it's because I'm struggling so much accepting myself as a person who stammers.
I'm so excited to post more videos and go on this journey together.
I just thought I needed other people to understand what it actually feels like having a stammer, as things that your average person might not even think of. So I try and give that message of you're so deserving to order exactly what you want.
That's everything, thank you. Thanks for being so patient. Thank you.
I have actually learned that humans are actually so kind and so patient, and now I'm still a bit shocked by it. I was literally so kind. Having all of these sweet reactions or interactions has just almost like healed my inner child who grew up with such negative thoughts and feelings.
Thank you, that's great.
You're absolutely fabulous as well, by the way. Lovely, thank you.
Thanks for that. Thanks, I appreciate it.
The letters that we got way back in the 70s. I avoided going to college until I was 21 because of the pain involved in going back to school. It was at this point that I realized stuttering would not vanish with time. It was hard going from place to place, seeing if anyone could help me. For 2 years, no one could, but now I know I can. They heard about the organization, that they would contact us, and today I guess you just text. I'm Michael Sugarman. I have an MBA degree and an MSW degree, and I'm a person living with a stutter. In 1976, I was a student at UC Santa Barbara. There was this whole feel of movement that was going on, a social movement, and I felt stuttering and disability was kind of like the same thing. I moved up to Sacramento as a UC student lobbyist, and I was talking to a couple of the assembly people and talking about stuttering and starting an organization. Oh, look, here's our corporation paper. We filed for incorporation papers in January of 1977. At that time, saying that you were a person who stuttered, or you're a person with a disability, or a person who stuttered, it was quite shocking for some people. These are some of the workshops we started to do. A stuttering trial workshop for parents, running trainings of training peers of how to facilitate groups. Our groups started to come up. We got an article in the LA Times, basically that we exploded onto the scene. At that time, that's what I talked about. 2 things. It's okay to stutter, that you're okay. We're looking at our personal development, empowerment, and saying that you're a person. Okay, so you stutter. I'm just excited about where it's been, where it's going, and where we are right now. I mean, jump ahead to today. It is so cool. It is so cool.
What I'm really trying to do is to like build a movement where the stuttering community feels safe enough to come out of the shadows.
I've met people who are like, yeah, I got up on stage and did poetry, or I've got up on stage and I did comedy because I saw you. And I've just talked to tons of people who stutter who have never seen a person stutter so openly.
Stuttering is not a sign of inadequacy. You are not less of a person because you speak differently.
You're not alone. To know that internally, you're not alone. What are you not saying? And what do you want to say?
I knew that I wanted to be bigger and just kind of embrace who I was and let that kind of radiate out to people.
I think if I could talk to my younger self, I would say that it is okay to stutter and that there's people out there who are doing it.
My deepest fears growing up was not finding someone like a partner, like a life partner, because I always thought they'd think of my stutter as ugly. And so I would just say to her, like, you're gonna find someone that's loves your stutter and finds it actually endearing.
I would say to younger Gina that it's okay to stutter, because that was not something that I believed at all as a kid.
If only she knew like the progress and the achievements that she is always so capable of, because I felt so unworthy. Having a stammer is actually my greatest gift ever.
If I could say something to another kid who stutters, I would say, don't give up. There's more of us out there.